Hey, what's up, everybody? You're listening to I Like Shorts, the only podcast dedicated to that comfiest and easiest to wear of garments. That's right, the only one named after an adjective, the shorts. Last week, Misty really enlightened us about the pizzazz you can add with a simple pair of suspenders. Next week, Professor Birch has got a few words for us about cargo pockets. But this week on the show, we're welcoming back, for the 8th time, Miss Briana Joy.
Hi guys, it's great to be back.
This is actually Silph Radio, a Pokemon-centered podcast. It's great to have you back. On this podcast, we obsess about Pokemon, and we do it with a lot of bad fucking words. So if you're a kid, make sure you're emotionally and mentally mature enough to handle the type of shit we're about to fucking talk about. Just preparing them for what's ahead. So if the parents are listening, they're like, what the hell are you listening? Turn this off. But hey, we got the hit. I don't care. We already got your hit.
We're fucked up enough as it is. We'll just spread the love.
Needless to say, we have no affiliation with Nintendo, no affiliation with Game Freak, no affiliation with the Pokemon Company.
Aww.
We do not claim ownership over Pokemon. We have nothing to do with it other than we are fans. Really big fans. And there are really other really big fans out there.
Of course there are.
Of course there are. They've come and gathered at our brand new subreddit, r/Silph Radio. If you don't know how Silph Radio is spelled, it's the name of the podcast.
Go back to school, friends.
It's the name of the podcast. If you're not a Redditor, I would say sign up just to become a part of this community.
It's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. Jolly by Nature, who also happens to be the host of the new Pokemon podcast, Blast Burn Radio. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Briana, it's worth your time. I know you love Pokemon. You love Pokemon podcast.
Oh, I'll sew down.
It's different. They're more technical and everything. There's 3 hosts, and it's a lot of fun. But Jolly by Nature stopped by our subreddit to further on the discussion of our Science and Politics of Pokemon Battles episode. That was episode 18, I believe. I really like what he added to the conversation, and I think it warrants discussion here on the podcast. So
hell yeah.
Rather than try to sum up what he said, I'm just going to go ahead and read what the man posted. I don't know his voice, so I'm just going to do it in my own voice. It's an interesting acting choice. My personal headcanon has always been that we're limited to 6 Pokemon, not necessarily because of regulation, or at least not regulation for regulation's sake. I think we're limited to 6 Pokemon due to the critter's own biological needs. While this isn't generally directly addressed in the game, it's slightly more addressed in the anime. Pokemon are ultimately animals, and thus have animal biological needs, food, environmental, social, etc., and would require care. I've always acted under the assumption that 6 is the maximum number of Pokemon that can be adequately cared for at once, and having more than 6 greatly increases the chances of abuse or neglect, thus leading to potential Pokemon League regulation. This theory actually accounts for several disconcerting things within the game's universe, including the fact that most random trainers only have a few Pokemon. Most trainers aren't as talented as the PC player character, as evidenced by player character eventually becoming champion, and thus wouldn't be able to adequately care for Pokemon as well. And the general over-specialization or lack of diversity from many trainers and all gym leaders. Pokemon of similar typings would theoretically share similar needs and preferences, and thus be easier to care for together than a more diverse team.
All I can think about is a crazy cat lady with like 20 cats. And like if you think of Pokemon like cats, there's no fucking way. Like, you can do more than even, like, 3. Like, 3 is, like, okay, we're getting to the max there and people are starting to judge me, like...
Right. Like, and he has a really good point, too, because if you know a lot of cat ladies, like, it really is true that, like, anyone who has more than 3 cats generally does only have, like... You're not going to see... They have, like, one type. Like, they either have fire-type cats or water-type cats or electric-type cats, you know?
The cats that eat the wires are the electric types, yep.
I went down the long road for this really stupid joke. No, that is... I love that. That is so great point, because you do need to take care of these, and this really ties in
and, like, who
to
the
our
fuck
topic
has
today.
money doing... Like, these kids are basically, like, the hipsters of their world. Like, I'm not gonna get a
Look
job,
at the way they
man.
dress.
I'm just gonna go
ride my bicycle.
The world. Like, it's like the people on HGTV that are like, my wife makes crayons for a living. and I catch butterflies, yet we can afford a $250,000 house. Like this is Pokemon trainers. Like their mom must be a fucking billionaire because like she invests their money in like the stock exchange, and like you just get like a surplus of funds every time you come home. Like your mom's got that shit together, but like on your own. Like, all these kids must be fucking rich by their parents. Cause, like,
so, fan theories part 2, the Pokemon universe is just Portland. It's just Portland.
Pretty much. But, like, how could they afford to take care of these creatures, you know? Like, just the thing to put them in is $300. Like, they're already sounding like purebred animals.
Their economy, man, their economy is something we've really been getting into lately, and that's clearly different. Things cost more, so we should ask Matt Pat over at Game Theorist to like calculate the value of a Pokédollar.
I would love to know.
But I love the point he brings up. Like, if you're caring for fire type Pokemon, that requires a certain type of care.
Your house gonna burn down.
Yeah, you have to like know how to manage the flame. You have to keep the fire burning. You have to like know how to like regulate their body temperature. They might eat similar types of food.
Don't sleep with it.
If you're taking care of water Pokemon, you have to keep them damp or hydrated. Like grass type Pokemon need a lot of sun. They need like maybe fertilizer. Like, he has a really good point with that, and that's something that's never been brought up, which I think is phenomenal. That's great. And the Pokemon League probably set a cap at 6 because they're like, look, any more than 6 at a time,
PETA will be coming knocking on our doors like, we don't need that shit.
We don't. These things are hard to take care of, and only a master can even take care of 6. And
exactly.
Then, yes, only these. That's why you don't see a lot of people with a lot of different types. And even the NPCs you run into, even if they don't only have one type, like fire, water, grass, they'll have like a theme. So it'll be like cute Pokemon or cave type Pokemon. Because even if they have just Zubats and Geodudes, those are 2 different types of Pokemon, but they both come from a cave environment.
Exactly. And it's all based on where you grew up. You know, that's where you catch your Pokemon. But like, when I play the game personally, like, I have hundreds of Pokemon.
But you're playing one of these, like, prodigal trainers that's, like, really breaking the mold, that is an expert, like,
but
like,
at the same
savant.
time, you don't think about the fact that these are sitting in boxes. You know, you think they're at a funny farm somewhere. Like, Professor Oak's taking care of, like, the millions of Pokemon that, like, Can you imagine, realistically, if Professor Oak took in everybody's Pokemon in the boxes? Can you imagine how fucking crazy that would be?
Everyone in Kanto.
Every fucking person. Like, if they all caught 100 Tauros, like...
No, the canon clearly is that it's in the PC. Ash gets special treatment because... We all know why Ash gets special treatment.
Special.
Listen to me and Brianna's previous episodes.
So very special.
Anyone, and you know why Ash gets special treatment.
Because
his mom's getting that special treatment.
Oh, we know. We make fun of Ash a lot, but he is very near and dear to my heart. Speaking of special treatment, our topic for today is actually about the place where Pokemon go to get specially treated.
Nurse Joy in the Pokemon centers.
Dun, 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 dun. Hold on, let's try this again. Do 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 do.
No, hold on, we don't want to get sued. Pokemon centers. I think this is a good place to start if our topic's Nurse Joy. I don't think a lot of people think too deeply into the identity of a Pokemon center. And they just consider it like a Pokemon hospital, but I think that's actually incredibly inaccurate.
Do you want to know the most mind-blowing thing about the Pokemon Center? That shit's free.
It is free.
Doesn't that just blow your mind?
Maybe, not necessarily. If a lot of the stuff yeah, it does, because they do have to pay the staff that works there.
Like, think in real life how much, like, a doctor costs. Like, you could, you know...
It is interesting. I think in order to get to the point where we discuss, is it logical that it's free, we've got a long road ahead of us to pave.
Gotta tear that shit apart and check it out.
Well, you know, like, if, for example, I say, like, the reproduction of digital media should be free, because why shouldn't it be? Doesn't require any manpower. But they clearly staff nurses. So let's talk about this. A Pokemon Center is not just a healing place. They have a public PC, so a place where you can come and deposit Pokemon into this digital storing system. They have rooms upstairs that are dedicated to trading and battling. I think most of this episode is going to be dedicated to talking about the healthcare aspects. So
definitely.
Let's take a minute to talk about those rooms. I think that's interesting because Pokemon trainers can pretty much battle anywhere, right?
Right.
Like, that's the assumption.
So what makes these so special?
Well, you use them in game. You use them to battle your friends who have different DSs and are on different games and might even be in a different town or a different region. So perhaps we know that you can withdraw Pokemon from a PC from any Pokemon Center. Maybe these rooms upstairs for battling and trading are set up so that you can have a battle. If, Briana, I'm in Viridian City in Kanto and you're in Goldenrod City in Johto.
And we're just sitting there one day like, fuck, I really want to battle Nathan.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, what are you doing? You want to have a battle later today? I don't got anything going on. Go to the Pokemon Center, sign up for an appointment, like, sign your name up. Like, there's book times because you got to get in there and book your time. And you're like, okay, you got your battle. From 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., it's yours. And, like, you go up there and you've got your little trainer's pedestal to stand there, and I see maybe, like, a hologram of you.
I was going to say, remind me, because it's been a minute, like, how in the game does it look when you're battling someone?
You're both in the same room.
So, like, do they teleport you?
I don't think so.
Like, if it were, like, realistic, though.
I don't think so.
Based off of how the game looks?
I don't think so, because teleportation is only...
For Abras,
human
I got it.
Teleportation? No, like, human teleportation. We saw Bill working on it and not being able to perfect it. And then we see teleportation tiles in Silph Co., which is a really, really expensive, powerful business. Like,
hell yeah.
So I don't think human teleportation is a very easy technology. But Pokemon teleportation, that's easy. You can just pull them right out of the PC. So they could easily teleport your Pokemon into one room.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess it would be arbitrary which Pokemon Center houses it, mine or yours.
Right.
And then maybe we just see each other on a screen.
Yeah,
or I like the
that makes
idea
sense.
that there's another podium and I see a little hologram of you there.
That'd be fucking
and
cool.
see exactly what you're doing. So if you're messing with your screen and shouting orders, I can see you across the arena and our two Pokemon are there battling, even though we're in two completely different cities. So a Pokemon Center, like, it's not just a hospital. It's sort of like this Pokemon rest stop with various, like, services.
Yeah.
That's like, it's also like a Pokemon club, like a place where if you're a Pokemon trainer,
You look at that place and you go, thank God.
there's no
We're
comparison
here.
in the real world. Like, if there is, I can't think of it, like a con. It's like a Comic-Con that's always going on.
Comic-Con that's always going on. Pokemon centers. I don't know, man. I try to be
My
funny.
life is like a Comic-Con that's always going on. I imagine they offer lodging. Like, I imagine
They do. In the anime, you'll see frequently, the characters sleeping in the Pokemon Center. So it's like, it's a hotel on top of that. It's just fucking everything.
Yeah.
Man. They feed you, you sleep there.
I
your
gotta
Pokemon
imagine,
can get better.
at least in the early days, because most of what I think about is in Red and Blue days, Gen 1, that it's really limited. They've got like 3-4 rooms, and maybe there's a few cots in the common area.
Maybe they're in the basement and we don't see the rooms. Maybe it's a dungeon, man. Can you imagine?
They got to be in the basement because
Like,
we know
you
what's
kids
upstairs.
can't pay because you're sleeping here for free, so go sleep in the cement.
I doubt it's like that. It's probably not a lavish hotel room, but they probably have small little, like, almost like those Japanese hotel rooms that are so small it's just a bed. Just like, hey, you want to stop here and sleep for the night? Or there are probably rooms where 4 beds to a room. Hey, you want to sleep tonight? You're bunking with 3 other people. It's free lodging at the Pokemon Center.
And
it's
I mean,
like a hostel.
in the anime, you can see it all the time. You'll see them in 4-bed bedrooms, all sharing the same room. Like, those are at the Pokemon Center.
You do, don't you? You're
yeah,
right.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So, this is one area I think the anime nails it by expanding the role of the Pokemon Center.
Oh, exactly. It's like the safe haven. It's like the halfway house for the trainers, I think.
However, I mean, there is...
How are they getting funding for this?
Look, we're gonna talk about that later. There's a part where the anime blows it though, because like apparently maybe it's just certain Pokemon centers, but according to at least one episode of the anime, Pokemon centers have a fucking curfew where...
Yep, I remember that.
At a certain point, the doors lock. What was this? The Damien episode with Charmander?
Yep, and it's funny because the bird just says curfew time. Like, he doesn't even tell you what time the curfew is. Right. You're like, it could be like 7 o'clock. It could be 3 a.m. Like, we don't know.
I'm motherfucking 33 years old, motherfucker. Like, curfew, first of all. And then what happens is, like, the doors lock. Like, it's like the purge.
Yes,
it's like safe room time. The doors lock. No one's allowed in or out. What the actual fuck? This goes against everything that I see about a Pokemon Center. First of all, like...
children. Oh.
Like, okay... You're a Pokemon trainer on your journey. You show up at town at 4 a.m. You've You just got out of the Viridian Forest.
You sleeping outside.
But like all the businesses are shut down. Everyone's asleep. The lights are still on at the Pokemon Center. Like even in the games, you see it. And in the games, like after Gen 1, when they can make it look like nighttime, like they make a point of showing like the Pokemon Center looks like a beacon in this dark town.
Yeah, like, that's true. I was just thinking it's like a beacon of hope.
This is very important to me in my vision of life as a Pokemon trainer. Like it's late at night outside Mount Moon. There's like 4 people at the Pokemon Center. One of them's using the PC just by himself, figuring some shit out. Who am I going to bank? I got to go. I'm going to fight Misty in a little bit. I should probably pull out some grass types. One's taking a nap in a chair, head rested on the table because the couple cots are taken up by the 3 other people. And then there's like 2 old people playing cards and talking. And like one guy that wants to talk to you about his Poliwag. Or like, no, it's daytime at Celadon City Pokemon Center. Business is booming. It's a culture hub. People are walking around in line for the services to get Pokemon registered, to get to trade, wanting to talk to you and organize trades and just network and like, hey, what's up, dude? You're waiting to use the PC too? Hey, have you heard anything about this? They say there's a swarm of Beedrills coming around. I don't know, like... It's
the information hub of the Pokemon world. It's where you get everything done and can get anything done. Like, that's what it is, man.
Yeah. And they're in every town. It's like the Pokemon League sets them up. They have to be set up by the Pokemon League.
They've, that might even control the funding, too, if you think about it. Maybe they're the ones giving them the money.
It's got to be. The Pokemon League invests a lot in... regulating and taking care of Pokemon matters seems to be the deal, and they want Pokemon to be safe, and they want people to be safe, and they want the union between man and Pokemon to be safe and productive, and that seems to be the spirit behind all of their decisions, most of their decisions.
Oh, and definitely.
They don't just set them up in towns, but they also set them up at, like, Mount Moon.
Or the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
But places that they know, like, okay, a lot of Pokemon trainers are going to come out of Mount Moon. Mm-hmm. We should set up a Pokemon Center here because this is vital. Like, we're not messing around. A human could get bit by a Zubat and die.
True story. Can you imagine getting bit by a Zubat, though?
Fuck.
Ugh.
God, that would suck.
And there's so many, so can you imagine every time you came across a Zubat, you'd get bitten by one?
But yeah, think about that.
You'd be a fucking corpse. Like, there's no way, man. Can you imagine if Zubat carried rabies?
You really don't think about that. Like, the danger of, like...
just being a trainer in a cave. Like, the cave part, like, there's no lights in half of them. Can you imagine walking through a pitch-black cave?
You're literally getting swarmed by 1-foot-tall bat Pokemon.
And the only way to see is by hitting rocks? Like, really?
Teeth. You're going to need all your Pokemon out to protect you. And if you get bit by one, we don't think about that, but think about that wound. Think about how much that would hurt and the poison seeping into you.
Can you imagine what your Pokemon goes through?
Like, so I feel like they've got to have very rudimentary human services at a Pokemon Center too. Like,
oh yeah,
not much.
Basic first aid.
They don't seem specialized to deal with it. And actually, I opened up discussion of this on the Reddit before we recorded, and Big Papi Rich throws out the example of Dr. Proctor in the anime.
Yep.
Which showed a clear distinction that there's human doctors and Pokemon doctors.
Right.
But I'm sure they've got to have little, like, okay, here's an antidote for a human. Oh, you got bit by a Zubat? Here's your antidote. Sit down, get something to eat, take a nap. You'll be okay, something like that.
One thing I really enjoy about the anime, they put Pokemon before the humans. Like, you only see that doctor episode once in, like, the entire series. Like, none of the characters, I mean, forgive me if I'm, like, I misspoke with this one because it's hard to, like, grade every episode and watch every episode, but you rarely see them being taken care of by a doctor. It's always the Pokemon getting taken care of. So I just love how the anime and the game, puts Pokemon first. Like, the world is about Pokemon. It's not about the people.
I would beg to differ that it's about the union between the two. That is about both equally.
I think that's a better way to be put. But I do, for the health aspect, Pokemon definitely takes precedence over,
right,
the trainers.
All right, so we can do all this talking about the Pokemon Center, but it's all useless if we're not going to talk about the matriarch herself, the head figure, Nurse Joy.
What a beautiful woman.
Nurse Joy. You're our anime expert, so that's why I've brought you here. We all know my main interest is really digging in and figuring out like what's going on in the most pure, like if we view the games as the source material and then the anime, the mangas, all these different things as just interpretations of that. What is the most pure interpretation and what's going on if you were to transport yourself to the Pokemon world? Well, you're my anime expert, so you're here to tell me about Nurse Joy, because that's where the Nurse Joy side of this comes. In the video games, she was just a nurse, and there were definitely different nurses at each Pokemon Center. There was no hint that they were the same person. Everyone shared sprites. You know what I mean? The fat guy with glasses, the middle-aged woman, the young child. There were like 7 different sprites.
The Pokemaniac.
And the nurse.
They're all there. Yep.
But in anime, it's Nurse Joy.
Nurse Joy is the embodiment of compassion. She is how you see a nurse. But she's so much more than that.
Yes.
She's so much more.
Many nurses. She's literally so much more than that.
So I'm sure most of you know Nurse Joy has a lot of cousins that look exactly like her.
And they're all named Nurse Joy. Joy's the family name.
And here's where we're going to blow your mind.
Okay. Blow it.
That's actually her last name. They're all not named Joy.
Well, they are. It's their last name, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And which in Japan would be their first name, because the family name comes first. But
makes sense to me. But can you imagine if they were all named Joy? How fucking crazy would that be at the reunions?
It's weird that in the Pokemon universe, in the anime, there's several families like this. Okay, I obviously knew about Officer Jenny, but I had no idea about these Don George fellows. Don George, he's the guy that runs like the battle clubs or whatever. I don't know. He's like a kung fu guy with a mustache.
I have no idea.
You're my anime expert. I don't know. I found out while I was researching Nurse Joy.
What season was it? I might not have watched it.
I thought you watched it all.
I skimmed through seasons, okay? I've seen the entirety of the original.
You think you know somebody.
Yeah, I know. After the voice actor fiasco of 2009, I kind of strayed away for a little while. Had to nurse a broken heart, but I'm back. It's all good.
I see what you did there.
Miss you, Veronica.
Well, regardless, it's weird. Some people have speculated that they're all clones. I think that's dumb. It's just some weird thing I think it's just that the anime does weird shit.
Exactly. But yeah, we find out that it is their last name. As a kid, you just assumed they were all named Joy, but that is actually their last name. In Drifloon in the Wind, Joy has 2 daughters. It's an episode in the Diamond and Pearl series.
Oh yeah, and they have first names, right?
Yeah, and the daughters' names are Marnie and Paige. And it's weird because you see 2 little Nurse Joys, But here's the thing. In the newer anime, there's nurses that don't want to be nurses. They want to do other things.
You mean there's Joys?
There's Joys that don't want to be nurses.
Yeah, because it's 2017, damn it.
Exactly. They can aspire to be something different. Stop oppressing us.
How great would that be if there was an Officer Joy? In one episode, it's just like, I'm Officer Joy.
Okay, can someone please make that happen?
Wait, shouldn't it be Officer Jenny?
And a Nurse
she's
Jenny.
Like, why? Why should it be Officer Jenny? Why? Huh? And then, no, they go to the Pokemon Center, and they're like, what, are we going to see Nurse Jenny?
She turns around, and they're like, oh, shoot.
No. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Nurse Don George. What, you thought it was going to be Nurse Jenny, you fucking cis-normative fucking asshole?
You got Jenny George.
Men can be nurses.
That's true. We appreciate you for all that you do.
Fucking treating your Pokemon for free. This is the fucking treatment I get. No respect. So I imagine Don George talking.
So they all look pretty much alike, with several character redesigns. I'm just saying, I see it how it comes. In the anime, you can't discriminate. It's an anime. Someone drew it, okay? They're not real people. As much as we wish they were. So anyway, you'll see, if you look real closely, in certain series, they have different designs on their hats. And that's what differs them, from this city Nurse Joy to that city Nurse Joy.
Different badges in certain ones too, right?
Yeah, they have different designs on their hats, different badges. So that's kind of little teaser, because my favorite is when they show the family portrait of all the Joys. It's just so funny to look at, and I love the original series because Brock was the only one that could tell the differences. So even though he was kind of portrayed as a horny little teenager, he could see the differences in the Joys. Like, that's just so, like, you know, like, good for him. Like, there's some good in there. Like, he's not just a little horn dog. It's all good.
Well, like, you can be obsessed with sex, promiscuous, and respect women.
Either that or he stares.
Now, does Brock respect women? I think it's a gray area. Like most people, because sometimes he doesn't. And sometimes he does show respect for women, and sometimes it's
what age is he portrayed at? Like
chivalrous,
15, right?
You know, like patriarchal social point of view. And I don't know, because in the games they don't clearly define what age they are.
Right.
Misty is said to be young. Brock I see as older.
15.
Honestly, older than that in the game canon. I see him as like an adult. Like 20.
Oh, but, in the game, I see Misty and Brock as adults because they're very tall. And...
I think they did say that Misty was young. She's probably a teenager, but I don't know. I don't remember.
But Brock, I could definitely see as an adult, hands down.
But in the show, I don't know. Yeah, Brock clearly I think the fact that I'm arguing, hey, does Brock have respect for women is letting my male privilege show.
We should just do an episode on this.
No, he doesn't.
A Brock-only episode. Let's make it happen.
But in his heart, does he? I think is the question, maybe.
Find out next time when we make the episode.
Of course there'll be a Brock-only episode one day.
Hell yeah. Speaking of Brock, there's actually a song. It's on the album Totally Pokemon. I was a huge dork as a kid. And it was like one of my favorite albums. If you listen to this as a kid, like as embarrassing as it is, there is a song on it that the voice actor for Brock actually sings called Jenny Joy. And like in the song, it goes, a one-woman man's what I want to be, but there's two perfect girls for me. And he's like going on and on about Jenny's awesome, but Joy, oh my God, and he can't decide. And like, it's the best song.
At the end of the song, he remembers that there's multiples of each of them. And he's just like, I can't.
Well, at the end of the song,
I can't do this anymore.
He's like, what's her name? Like, you know, who's this girl? You know, he just moves right along, you know.
I can't do this anymore.
It's a pretty funny song if you care to listen.
Because he's at the Pokemon Center, he goes over to the PC and he's clicking around and he's on Tumblr and he's like, polygamy, eh?
I can have them all.
The freedom to choose my own sexual lifestyle and not be judged.
We live in a beautiful world now.
Respecting women? This is all sorts of interesting stuff I've never heard of. In the games, there's definitely different people who are nurses that are not part of this one big family. I mean, there's one named Casey who has a Chansey named Pinky. In Black and White 2, your mom used to be a nurse. And there's also this early Ken Sugimori art for the nurse, which was on the cover of like Pokemon Journal or some Pokemon publication in Japan, which is actually really dope. Any early Ken Sugimori art is, but she has like black hair with like spiky pigtails and this really ornate dress, like Pokemon Center uniform. So do you think like, is Nurse Joy, now I mean both in the anime and in the game, like the nurse, are they, I defined them at the beginning, like I introduced them as like the matriarchal figure of the Pokemon Center. Are they head boss around the Pokemon Center, do you think, or are they just the nurse at the counter?
I think they are everything.
You think they run the center?
Oh yeah, and just in the anime alone, not only are they nurses, but they also judge contests and grand festivals, and they also give out the Pokemon to the new trainers in towns that don't have professors.
That's something I'd like to discuss. So we owe the characters owed it to their due that they run the Pokemon Center. The gym leaders run the gyms. The Mart guys run the Marts. You know what I mean?
Mr. Mart runs the Marts. Yeah,
the professors run the labs. Yep. Like they definitely run the Pokemon Center.
Oh, hands down, definitely.
But yeah, that's something that's really interesting to discuss too. What you mentioned, they have other duties. Another one, I don't know if you mentioned, they inspect gyms as part of the what's it called, the Pokemon Inspection Agency or whatever.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah,
so she does it all
to like make sure gyms are up to league regulations. Well, I think it's more like the nurses are also like likely people to take up these positions, especially I think a lot of this takes place in early society where there aren't as many people. Like it progresses fast throughout the development of the series, but like I'm really focused on the early days. I can't help it, but we do try to discuss the entire
I mean, it's nice
series
to discuss
here.
the foundation of it, too, because that's how it grew into what it is today. Exactly. Yeah. So just discussing and delving into the original concepts is like so fascinating.
Small cities and these settlements, and it's really, and the league comes in and they set up a Pokemon Center, which is a huge help to these cities. Like, it both brings tourism and money to their town because Pokemon trainers can go there and rely on a Pokemon Center there. It offers free services to the people that live there and the people that are visiting there.
Kind of sounds like Canada.
And then there's this Nurse Joy who's now like a public official there. Like, she's probably on that city council with the gym leader and the mayor and stuff. And you're bringing up them giving out the Pokemon, which is what I was really latching onto and trying to talk about here for a second. I don't know if it's... A lot of people, I think, assume it's like, hey, it's Pokemon season, like it's shown in the first episode of the anime.
They're
ripe
for picking.
Hey, it's that time of the year, young 10-year-old trainers. You'll choose either Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. I don't think that was what it is. I don't think that was the original intent when they were making the games.
Right.
And I don't think that's how we should interpret it if we're trying to find the most pure form of the Pokemon universe. Starter Pokemon probably are given out by league officials, and it probably is an official thing where it's registered and it's like, I'm a league professor or a league nurse or even a gym leader maybe.
Right. And what I want to know
that is a town representative. If 1 second, hear me out. Like, that's like, I'm a big figure in this town and there is a community of young individuals who are interested in becoming Pokemon trainers. They've been showing up at the gym and taking my classes, and it's that time of the year now where like new trainers start their journeys. I'm registering, and like maybe if you grow up in Celadon, your choices from Erica aren't Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. Or maybe if it's in Kanto, they kind of are, and it's just like that's one of the common things.
That's like the regulation.
Or
it has
maybe
to
not.
Be the 3.
It's Erica, and she's like, you want an Oddish? I'll give you an Oddish or,
right,
or a
Ash
Bellsprout.
Did get a Pikachu, exactly. So I think it's based on availability. And here's what I want to know. Who is the one that catches the starter Pokemon for the trainers? Is it the professors? Is it Nurse Joy? Is it the league officials?
Are they bred?
Do they breed them at Nurse Joy's or the breeding centers? And they ship them all off and, you know, hatch them. And like maybe that's like the hatching season for those breeds of Pokemon. It's like there's so many things we can discuss with it. Like we can go on for days.
It's probably there's not one answer. Like
right, and that's the amazing thing about this fantasy world. Like it is its own world.
Yes, Red's story was Red's story. Professor Oak had a Bulbasaur, Charmander, and a Squirtle. He clearly states that those are 3 rare Pokemon which he caught. Not that the league breeds these 3 Pokemon to give to starter trainers. He says these are 3 of my personal Pokemon, and I'm going to give one to you, my grandson, and you, the only other kid in town.
The other kid that's not my grandson.
Meanwhile, the female player, Leaf or Green, is outside like, hello,
Yup.
Can I have the 3rd one? And he's like, will someone pull the blinds, please?
I see how you feel about women.
On the screen phone call, Brock's like, Professor Oak, you have to hear what I learned about on Tumblr about respecting women. And he's like, not now, Brock. So they were given these Pokemon, and that was a unique event. He gave them the Pokedex that he invented and let them choose one of his personal Pokemon. Everyone in Kanto doesn't get a Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle. That was something that happened in the story of Red and Blue.
Only for the rich kids.
The starters,
or favorites.
The starters in Lavender Town were given a starter Pokemon by the nurse of the Pokemon Center. There's no gym. There's no professor. The nurse of the Pokemon Center must have. Or they went out and caught it themselves. They were badasses.
With rocks and shit.
They bought a Pokeball and they went out and caught a Caterpie or something.
Well, I mean, when Ash started out, he threw a rock at a Spearow to try to catch it. So that's probably how they're taught.
Or maybe their parents hand them one down. Like, it's not
handed them a
so
rock
black
down?
and white.
Okay, this is the rock I caught my Pokemon with. All right.
Now go catch a Pokemon. No, like, maybe the family Pokemon had a puppy. Hey, it's Nathan from the future. I just wanted to pop in real quick and make a quick correction to some of my speculation. I actually, in my heart, would believe that it was Mr. Fuji who gives out the beginner Pokemon to trainers in Lavender Town. Obviously, it would be Mr. Fuji. He's one of the biggest figures in Lavender Town, and he runs the orphanage and has a bunch of orphan Pokemon. So if Nurse Joy is giving out the beginner Pokemon and Mr. Fuji's just sitting over here with all these orphaned Pokemon, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Go out and adopt today.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's just
the one thing I don't think there is pet stores. Interestingly enough,
no, I don't think there is either. But then again,
because it's like slavery. You don't.
I remember the episode,
Game Corner.
The Game Corner. Well, that was like underground Pokemon lottery shit.
It was being run by Team Rocket.
Oh, yeah.
So they're probably exploiting legal loopholes, and the league was like, we want to shut them down.
They were like the exotic pet industry.
You should not be able to buy Pokemon.
Right. Like
you shouldn't be able to buy sentient beings.
Right, like the equivalent of buying a tiger.
No,
it's the same type of business.
No, it's like buying a person.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, shit. Pokemon are being trafficked. Shit like, got real dark.
Well, I'll meet you halfway. It's like the equivalent of buying a furry.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, my God.
The furry's like, hey, actually, I'd be into that.
I'm willing.
Like, yeah, if that's
I'm
cool.
willing to try everything once.
Pet play, anybody?
Okay, fit into this tiny capsule for me.
You don't have to ask me twice. So...
I love how we just went that way.
Brock's God. Now by tiny capsule, do you mean you're okay, Brock? That's enough.
Back it the fuck up, son.
Back the fuck up. Back to pewter. All right.
Back to pewter with you. That's probably why.
Pewter? I barely know her. Okay, Brock. God damn it, Brock.
Oh, God. If he were a person, he would have gotten shanked by now. All the Nurse Joys just come and just start shanking. The ultimate way to go, Brock.
Okay. Catcalling is wrong. Disrespecting women is like wrong. Like not respecting women's boundaries, that's all wrong. But you don't shank somebody over it. Like that's taking it a little too far. Like, come on, an eye for an eye. Okay, maybe if they
harassed him back, he'd like it. So
if they don't respect your physical boundaries, like yeah, shank them over it. They put their hands on you without being asked. Shank a motherfucker. So let's get back to the Pokemon Center and Nurse Joy, though.
No more violence for now.
What does Nurse Joy do? That's what I want to talk about. Okay,
all.
Does she have medical expertise? She must.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. I mean, like. The thing is,
it runs in the family.
In the anime, sure, you see him like, we need 6 cc's of electric volt stat and blah blah. But like in the games, you bring him the Pokeball. She's like, sure, let me just take those, and she sets him on a train. It goes doop doop doo doo doo, and then she's like, here you go, thanks for coming. You want me to heal him again? And you're like, no, I've just pressed A too fast. Fuck. And then she takes him and heals him again. Do you think that happens in the Pokemon universe? Like someone's just
didn't take him back quick enough. Gotta do it again.
They're busy texting on their phone and they're not listening to what she's saying. And she's like, "Do you want me to heal your Pokemon?" And they're like, "Yeah, whatever." Here, and they hand him, and she takes him and she brings him back, and she's like, "Here's your Pokemon. Thanks for coming." And you're like, "Yeah, whatever." And she's like, is there anything else I can do for you? You're like, "Yeah, sure." As they're like texting on
20
the phone.
fucking minutes go by every time.
And then she goes like, "Do you want me to heal your Pokemon?" And you're like, Yeah, whatever. And then she takes them, and then you're, oh, what? No, I was playing Candy Crush. Fuck. But
you know, it'd be a really crazy mindfuck if Pokemon trainers played Pokemon.
Like if there was a game in Pokemon.
Oh yeah,
I think there is.
I mean,
because you have a Super Nintendo in your room in one.
So and those players and those games play Pokemon.
What's like the mini games from Pokemon Stadium and stuff?
Like they all, like it just comes full circle. Everyone's playing Pokemon.
What if that's what Pokemon Mystery Dungeon was?
Makes sense to me.
A video game in a fucking role-playing video game in the Pokemon universe. Because that's what it seems like, right? It's like a fantasy.
Yeah.
If you lived in Pokemon that was a fantasy world, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is like an even more fantasy world of that.
Like what if they talked?
Fan theories, part 2.
Coming soon.
Another thing that Jolly by Nature actually brought up on the subreddit, go to the subreddit, join the conversation. It's not just him there. Like I said, Big Poppy Rich is there too. A lot of people were crafting conversations, and I'm going to be inviting you guys to join the conversations before we record the episodes so that your input can make it into the episodes. So please join us, if not on Reddit, on Facebook.
If you want to get involved, that's the way to do it.
Jolly by Nature brought up that perhaps the little Pokemon thing that doop doop doo 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 is a diagnostics machine.
Yeah,
that what it's doing is she sets them there, it runs diagnostics and figures out what is wrong with the Pokemon, what needs to be done, gives her a what do you call it when a doctor a diagnosis. I'm like, it's a
diagnostic.
Yeah. I'm like, it's a different word on people than it is on computers, right? No, it's not. It's the same word. Gives a diagnostic.
We're all machines,
but it works because they're data. So it's like running data medical diagnostics on them. And I imagine she does most her repairing digitally. Like, manually, probably. Like, I'd hate to think that she doesn't have any medical expertise, because otherwise, our nurses in this world are basically the equivalent of, like, a McDonald's clerk. Her profession's rendered useless. Like, who cares? Anyone can press a button.
No offense to anyone from McDonald's, but...
Yeah, no offense to that, but...
I mean, you gotta make a living, but yeah, like...
And hey, you're not Nurse Joy, motherfucker. Like, if you work at McDonald's and you just got offended because I compared you to the matriarch of the Pokemon centers who hands out starter Pokemons and inspects Pokemon gyms.
You work at the matriarch.
Motherfucker, you work at McDonald's. I feel qualified to say that now if you're taking offense that I think Nurse Joy has a cooler job than you.
You work as the matriarch of the fast food industry anyway, so...
Oh, yeah. If you're the boss of McDonald's, good on you. You're doing your
for real.
thing.
Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah.
There ain't no shame in that. That's fucking awesome.
Don't
but
hate.
You're not Nurse Joy.
Don't hate.
You don't have Pokemon, so like I'm sorry, she's cooler than you. But she has pink hair too, and little rings. Like that's just cool.
That hairspray,
that's just cool.
I don't even want to know how much she uses. That's fucking God.
So I refuse to believe she doesn't have medical expertise, and a lot of it is probably manually going in on a keyboard and being like, okay, it's poison.
So she has like a tech degree too.
This thing's really badly poisoned, so I'm gonna have to. I can easily just get the poison out of there, but the poison's already caused damage. It looks like to its liver, and it's you know what I mean. And it's like, okay, so in order to fix that, we're gonna have to do this. That's gonna throw this off balance. So I'm just gonna have to fix this data here, and like doing like this thing on the computer, and maybe even sometimes I'm gonna have to pull this Pokemon out and actually do a little bit of medical work. And
right. I mean, it's crazy if you think about.
I can't set this bone on the data; it's just not working, or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is still early technology and stuff, and I like that idea that she's like a digital medical technician who like repairs your Pokemon.
Like, I can't imagine, like, can you imagine, like, if, like, someone like Nurse Joy, like, with that expertise existed in our day and age, how much would their salary be? Because you think about it, a doctor
and
makes,
she
like,
did her work for free.
Yeah, exactly.
How much would her salary be?
Like, I don't even know. She's probably, like, she's just, like, the Snow White of the Pokemon universe. Like, man.
Have we ever seen in the anime any of the males in the Nurse Joy family?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, I didn't watch the Drifloon in the Wind episode, but she had two daughters.
Do they all have the same profession, or do they get to make their own choices? And like, did they all have different professions?
Is there a Mr. Hyphen Joy? I could just see her hyphenating. She's that badass of a chick.
Or what if I'm the one being prejudiced here, and it's like, yeah, we have seen some of the males. Quit being so gender normative. People can wear whatever the fuck they want.
Hey, power to him, you know? Like,
and I'm like, ooh, maybe you're right. And Brock's like, ooh, maybe you're right.
Oh.
I did have a funny feeling on that one date.
If there has been, you know, a mention or something of a male Joy, like, I would love to know. Either that or, like, the dad's genes in the beginning, just all female chromosomes.
The only thing we really haven't talked about, I think, is, of course, the most important thing when you're talking about any topic in Pokemon, the partnership between human and Pokemon. I feel like the nurse usually only has one Pokemon partner, it seems like.
Yeah, and they all happen to match her hair, so I think that's super fun. And they're all pink Pokemon, and, you know, it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like they made this Pokemon specifically to be Nurse Joy's sidekick when they created Pokemon.
Who, Chansey?
Well, no, she has Chansey in Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh. She has an Audino in Unova, and she has a Wigglytuff in Kalos. So
she's also Blissey and Comfey also.
True. Yeah. Comfey seems to be the first
Alola. Well, that's new, so
yeah, non-pink.
Blissey's just an evolution of Chansey, and we have seen her with other in Pokemon centers with Magnemite's or Pikachu's. I think that's just the general
majority of them
staffing of the Pokemon Center.
Right.
And she very well may have other Pokeballs and like Ash, and just has one Pokemon that. Or like a lot of trainers, one Pokemon that stays by her side. But I really see it as she has a partner, like a doctor has a nurse. Nurse Joy.
But do they get paid?
Nurse Joy's nurse.
But do the Pokemon get paid for the work they do?
Give me the money, Nurse Joy.
We could just discuss the economy of Pokemon all day.
But Nurse Joy really isn't a nurse.
No.
The Chansey is.
Right.
I see Nurse Joy
as
is
the doctor.
The head doctor.
Right.
physician, the Chansey is her nurse and her assistant, or the Blissey, or the Audino, or the Wigglytuff, or the Comfey, or maybe there's even ones with other. Like, you know what? Like I said, it's 2017. There's probably a Nurse Joy out there with like a Machamp.
Exactly.
And that Machamp has a passion for medical science.
Pokemon don't discriminate.
Yeah.
If you want to have like a Machamp nurse, you can be a Machamp nurse. It's all good, man.
You can do brain surgery and
just
heart
put on
surgery.
Slightly more clothes. That's all. You're distracting the other patients with your muscles.
You can wear whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah, the Machamp, though.
Hot nurses are the best, though. Let's be honest.
He can do brain surgery and heart surgery at the same time, you know?
That's true. He's got more. Oh, yeah. Didn't even think about the arm thing.
Moving into Alola, though, they chose to go with a Comfey. I think I see why they didn't do it, because it's a starter Pokemon, and they wanted to have a less. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, the starter Pokemons are like bombastic Pokemon. They wanted to have a less bombastic Pokemon and a more general one for Nurse Joy. But Primarina would be a great Pokemon for Nurse Joy, because it is a healer. Its ability heals the other Pokemon. Like,
oh, exactly. And I could totally see a Nurse Joy with one. I'm sure, Alola is very much an aquatic world. So of course they would have a water type. Water types are probably a lot more common in that region, and I could totally see a Nurse Joy with a Primarina.
Role play character, anybody? Briana Joy?
I mean, honestly,
are you a part of the Nurse Joy family? Did you dye your hair to cover your identity?
So Joy is my middle name, not my last name. So.
Well, Willow.
I mean, that's.
Well, Willow was Price's middle name and not his last name. That might not make sense now, but stick around. The mysteries
not a nurse, I'm just a photographer.
Unweave.
And a podcaster now, so I guess that's pretty fucking cool.
It is pretty fucking cool. I love it. I love having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us again. It's been dope AF.
Just so y'all know, I drove up 19 hours from Florida for this. You're welcome.
Just to do this episode.
Well, tell yourself that. It's fine.
And she's going to drive up 19 hours again to do another episode really soon here.
Sounds good to me.
Man, I hope that you guys have been enjoying Silph Radio. We're really trying to get them out.
It's a pleasure hearing from you guys. Give us feedback, give us comments, like our stuff. We like you liking us, so keep it up.
I like you liking me liking you. Yeah, really. Please do. Keep keeping in contact. Hit us up on the Facebook. Hit us up on our Reddit and join the conversation.
Tell us what you want to hear.
And become a part of the episodes. Yeah, request an episode topic if there's something you particularly want to hear about. I know a few of you have, and we haven't gotten to them yet. I do remember most of them. I'm pretty sure all of them. But do me a favor. If you have requested an episode topic and we haven't done it yet, send it to me again.
Keep bugging him. He needs assistance on remembering shit.
Send it to me again. I do 3 podcasts and I have a full-time job.
Bother him. It's fine.
There's a lot to keep up with. So please keep listening. And if you're bummed out that Silph Radio doesn't come out often enough, well, number one, I'm going to try to change.
Start paying us.
Number one, I'm going to try to change that and get it out more often, especially for a little while now, and it's still going to have its hiatuses, but go listen to Fair Enough Podcast or Fair Point Podcast. I guarantee if you haven't made the jump yet, there are topics there you will enjoy, and there's a lot of fun stuff. Briana does some voices in our 100th episode 99.
Lord help us all.
And Jeremy, if you love the episodes with Jeremy, he is all over Fair Enough Podcast. And if you think he's smart and insightful on Silph Radio, just wait till you hear what that motherfucker has to say on Fair Enough. Like, he will make you look at the universe in a new way. He really will. He really motherfucking will. And we've just been doing all sorts of cool things. Please keep a lookout. Me and Craig are going to be on an upcoming episode of Real Life Sci-Fi on Feral Audio's Real Life Sci-Fi with Wade and Willie. It's a lot of fun. They discuss conspiracy theories, paranormal stuff,
it's out of this world shit, man.
Yeah, the idea is there's like one cynic and one guy that like believes it all. And they try to they don't try to convince, but basically they pick a topic. Our topic is magic. And then one of them is like, oh, I believe in this, and this is why. And the other one's like, this is all bullshit, and this is why. And then the guest is like, well, here's how I feel. And at the end, they're like, well, did either of us sway you to feel our
Did we get anywhere?
And it was so much fun. I can't wait till they put it out to hear it. And it was so much fun working with them, and it was an honor and a privilege.
As it is an honor and privilege to hear from you guys and know that you're enjoying what you hear.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. A lot of you have been getting in touch with us lately. Keep that up.
And we'll keep this up.
These aren't hollow words. We want you to be a part of Silph Radio. Silph Radio is nothing without you. And I mean that. We're still having trouble with the name, so please do whatever you can do to support us. Please go subscribe to the YouTube channel. I know you're on YouTube. You have a smartphone. Just Google Silph Radio and hit subscribe. That's all you got to do.
It's so easy.
And it's a big help to help more people discover us and to help us get our goddamn Google results back.
And paying for my gas from Florida.
It's still free. We offer this free, just like Nurse Joy. This is a free service, so we would really appreciate whatever you can do to repay us for that free service. You don't actually have to pay us.
Fuck.
If Briana wants you to pay her. Look, if you're going to pay...
I'm broke. I work for Disney.
That's not going to help produce the podcast. Helping pay Briana's bills.
Disclaimer, I love my job.
Help pay my bills.
Still broke AF.
That'll help produce the podcast if you want to help pay my bills. Fuck that.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. This podcast is over. Join us next week. Craig motherfucking Lewis is going to be back, and we're talking about the #1 most requested topic of all time. It's going to be a big one. That's right. It's a huge, huge episode. Like
about Nathan's hair.
No.
Aw, man.
That's big. All right.
It's full of secrets,
My hair's
man.
Big, all right. But no. It's really like this is a topic that people have been waiting to hear us talk about. It's a juicy one.
Well, give me the answer. What is it?
You're gonna have to wait. But I'm telling you, like this next topic's a good one. Like, oh man, the second people see the title, they're gonna be like, oh, I see where he was going with that.
You're teasing all of us, you dick.
From the secret room, my name is Nathan K.
And I'm Briana Joy.
And it's been a joy. So enjoy your week. Join us next time.
Fuck you.
Hello, listeners.
Hey.
Unfortunately, in 2017, it is no longer just common sense to say Nazis do not belong here. And instead, it is now imperative to remind our fellow countrymen Nazis do not belong here.
They should be something we do not see, if you get my drift there. But that's true. I was about to counter you and be like, no, it is still common sense. But you're right. By definition of the words, we
shouldn't have to say it.
Well, it is sense, which is no longer common.
Right,
it should
correct.
be more common.
All right. See, Nazi rhetoric is not covered under freedom of speech, as it is an act of incitement, so don't be afraid to shut down Nazis. It is our duty as American citizens to snuff out the flames of hate before the fire consumes us all.
I'll say, Craig, I think it is covered under freedom of speech, and I want to say a personal thank you to these Nazis for wearing your supervillainy on your sleeve, because if you were more subtle, people with a tiny little shred of common sense, just a little tiny shred, and then a bunch of ignorance, they might listen to you. But now all you need is a tiny little shred of common sense to know
all
that
you need.
You're fucking Nazis. Go fuck yourselves.
Yeah, fuck Nazis. We got to say that.
Fuck Nazis.
Fuck Nazis. And this episode is dedicated to the 3 who died in Charlottesville. Heather Heyer was struck by a Nazi who plowed into a sea of people.
With his car, right?
With his car.
Yeah, not just a big burly Nazi. There's probably not that many because they're fucking cowards.
No. That is one person who spoke up for love and equality, and she is now gone. There are also 2 Virginia State troopers who died in a helicopter crash, H.J. Collin and Bert Bates. Rest in peace, all of you, and may you find what you're looking for in the possible afterlife.
We could probably cut that last part.
Okay.